Throughout history, religious figures have been trusted as the moral compass of society. However, some have strayed far from the path of righteousness, committing unspeakable acts that left a trail of devastation and shattered faith. Today, we will explore some of the most infamous religious figures who turned into criminals. Warren Jeffs was the leader of the Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or FLDS, a religious sect with an estimated 10,000 followers that broke away from the mainstream Mormon church to continue practicing polygamy. But Jeffs took the belief to a horrifying extreme, turning his position as a prophet into a vehicle for control, manipulation, and abuse. Jeffs preached the importance of plural marriage, in which the more wives that men had, the closer they were to heaven. However, many of these so-called marriages involved underage girls as young as 15 and 12. Jeffs was bestowed with the authority to perform such marriages, with his loyal followers being rewarded by having multiple wives assigned to them. Members who weren't so obedient, however, had their families ripped apart with property being stripped away from them and wives as well as children being reassigned by none other than the prophet himself. While Jeffs may have believed he was pleasing God by following his will, the feeling wasn't mutual with law enforcement, as the FBI placed Jeffs on the top 10 most wanted fugitives list and finally arrested him during a traffic stop in 2006 after years of evasion. Warren Jeffs was convicted of sexually assaulting 2 minors, both of whom he claimed were his spiritual wives, netting him life behind bars. While the exact number is unknown, it is believed that Jeffs had as many as 80 wives, with many of them underage, but all of them justified because of religion. His conviction marked a significant victory for the victims of his abuse, including his own children. But the damage he inflicted on generations of FLDS members remains a lasting scar. Shoko Asahara, who was originally born with the name Chizuru Matsumoto, founded Om Shinrikyo in the 1980s, the name meaning Supreme Truth. What started as a yoga and meditation group, blending elements of Buddhism, Hinduism, and Christianity, soon morphed into a doomsday cult driven by apocalyptic prophecies and violent extremism. Asahara presented himself as the ultimate spiritual leader, claiming to be both a reincarnation of Buddha and Christ. With promises of living a more meaningful life and protection from the end of the world, Asahara gained tens of thousands of followers worldwide, many of them being highly educated students from elite universities. However, his teachings took a dark turn as he began stockpiling weapons and producing chemical agents, even if it meant resorting to kidnapping and injuring opponents. In the process of striving to establish a new world order, Asahara's vision of apocalypse became a horrific reality in 1995, when Om Shinrikyo released a toxic nerve agent originally developed by Nazi chemists during World War II into the Tokyo subway system. The sarin gas caused the death of 13 people, and over 6,000 were injured in what is Japan's deadliest domestic terror attack. The cult also attempted several other assassinations and committed a bioterrorist attack just 9 months prior in Matsumoto City with sarin gas as well, taking the lives of 8 and injuring over 500. Shoko Asahara and several of his top lieutenants were eventually arrested and sentenced to death for orchestrating the attacks. What many believed to be a path of salvation left a wound on Japanese society, and Om Shinrikyo became a symbol of the dangers of religious extremism. Anwar al-Awlaki was an American-born citizen who spent a great deal of his life pursuing schooling by graduating with a civil engineering and master's education degrees, while preaching the religion of Islam as an imam working at local mosques. During the aftermath of 9/11, Anwar served as a particularly influential figure for both Muslims and non-Muslims in the Western world due to the charismatic presentation of his sermons and online lectures about Islam. However, Anwar's deviation towards criminal behavior initially began from soliciting prostitutes in San Diego, which was discovered through FBI surveillance, to being imprisoned in Yemen based on kidnapping and murder allegations. Although it's unclear, somewhere along the way, Anwar immersed himself into the Islamic extremist terrorist group Al-Qaeda. He committed himself towards attacking the United States, while inciting Muslims to do the same through his radical online posts, spreading messages like any jihadi who wants to kill Americans doesn't need a fatwa or religious permission, since Americans are the enemy and the devil. Ironic, considering that Anwar was a Muslim American. Supposedly, Anwar also had ties with the Fort Hood Army base shooting where 13 soldiers were killed, and the attempted underwear bombing of an American airline due to his extensive communication with each of the perpetrators. Nevertheless, this all culminated into Anwar ending up at the CIA kill list as authorized by President Barack Obama, eventually leading to his death from a US drone strike in Yemen. This sparked much controversy since Anwar was an American citizen, yet didn't receive a fair trial. But the US government justified the strike by citing his role in orchestrating and inspiring terrorism. Through manipulation of faith and power, trails of suffering were left behind that shattered lives and communities. These stories remind us that even when it comes to worship, the line between salvation and moral corruption can be frighteningly thin. What do you think drives these leaders to commit such vile acts? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories, where we unveil the atrocities plaguing the darkest sides of history.
You have to be converted to think of God and your husband. That's me.